Connecting the world's data. This is Newsstream.
Welcome to Neural Pulse, your daily AI briefing.
It is December 12th, 2025, and if you have the sense that the world isn't just dealing with crises, but that every crisis is, feeding the next one, you're precisely right.
Yeah, this day feels like a real pivot point. It's where market reality met military escalation head-on.
We're calling this a definitive watershed moment. Our analysis confirms that the international system has entered a phase we've been tracking for a while now. We call it Poly-Fragmentation.
And it's more than just simple fragmentation, isn't it? This is a state where global power, financial stability, and even our basic security narratives are all fracturing at the same time.
Exactly. And it makes everything feel so interconnected and, frankly, unstable.
So today's deep dive is your guide to making sense of those connections. We're going to take what look like totally disparate events, a tech stock crash, a naval standoff in the Pacific,
and tie it all back to this intense global competition for physical resources, specifically what's happening in Africa.
Our mission here is to give you the signal in all that noise. And for us, two big things really stood out this week. First, the moment the AI bubble's euphoria just popped. The Oracle shock, as we're calling it.
And second, the frightening reality that cyber warfare has now gone truly kinetic. We saw deliberate GPS attacks that physically threatened passenger planes in midair.
That line between digital conflict and civilian danger, it seems like it's completely gone. So let's unpack the financial tremors first, because that's really where this week's poly-fragmentation kicked off.
We have to start with the money. December 12th delivered a brutal shock to the tech sector, and it was all centered on Oracle.
Their stock plummeted nearly 14%.
14%! I mean, when a foundational tech company like that takes its biggest single-day hit since the dot-com crash in 2001, you know something structural is broken.
And it wasn't just, say, a bad earnings call. The market reacted to one specific number, didn't it?
Yeah.
The capital expenditure forecast, the CapEx.
That was it. The sheer scale of what Oracle is committing to the AI race, it shocked investors back into sobriety.
So what are the numbers we're talking about?
They are genuinely staggering. Oracle is now projecting $50 billion in annual CapEx for 2026.
$50 billion?
Yeah, and this isn't a small adjustment. It's a $15 billion upward revision from their last estimate. It's triple what they invested the year before.
So why did the market panic now? For months, investors have been cheering every single AI infrastructure build-out announcement. What changed?
The perception shifted. It went from enthusiasm to real scrutiny. I think institutional investors are now asking the hard question: will the productivity gains ever justify these massive escalating hardware and power costs?
The AI ROI problem? The return on investment.
Precisely. It's the difference between believing in a new gold rush and then suddenly realizing you're the one paying the astronomical electricity bills for everyone else who's digging.
It's like the market realized this infrastructure arms race is a zero-sum game, where only the chip makers are really guaranteed to win.
Exactly. And the cloud builders, they bear all the risk. And that risk is compounded by the counterparty issue here.
You're talking about Oracle's massive contract with OpenAI.
That's the one. A $300 billion cloud deal with a company that, isn't exactly known for its lean financials.
Well, they're still operating at a huge deficit to fund their research.
Right. And Oracle has taken on nearly $100 billion in total debt to build these data centers for partners like OpenAI. If OpenAI struggles to scale, investors fear Oracle is left holding this massive portfolio of bad assets. It creates a systemic instability.
And here's the fascinating contrast. While the Nasdaq dipped, dragged down by Oracle and NVIDIA, the Dow Jones Industrial Average hit an all-time record high.
Soared past 48,704. It's an incredible divergence.
It really is. What does that tell you?
It confirms the capital rotation is happening, and it's aggressive. Money is fleeing high-risk growth stocks, the whole AI dream, and seeking refuge in proven traditional value sectors like finance and industrials.
So pessimism about AI's future actually fueled a record for old-school industry. That's a perfect signal of this poly-fragmentation moment.
And that flight of capital, it doesn't just sit on the sidelines, it flows into new areas, and that directly connects to the geopolitical risk we need to talk about next.
Okay, let's transition from that fragmented financial risk to literal physical risk. We have to talk about these GPS spoofing attacks that targeted major Indian airports. Delhi, Mumbai, Bengaluru. This feels like a terrifying new escalation.
It is, because it confirms that cyber warfare now has true, indiscriminate, kinetic effects. It's not just stealing data anymore. It's putting civilians in physical danger.
And we need to be clear about the difference here. This isn't just GPS jamming, is it?
No, not at all. Jamming is simple. You just blast a powerful radio signal to block the weaker GPS signal. Your plane knows the GPS is gone, and you switch to manual.
But spoofing is,
Yeah.
it's far more insidious.
Absolutely. Spoofing is feeding the aircraft's navigation system false location and time data. The plane thinks the fake data is real because the signal is slightly stronger, and it looks legitimate. It's like your map is actively lying to you.
And this wasn't just a hypothetical threat. There was a real incident with an Indigo flight, 6E531.
That's right. The pilot got a catastrophic navigation data corrupted warning after the system was tricked into thinking it was 200 miles off course.
And they had to switch to manual control immediately.
Instantly. Imagine that. You're in a busy air corridor and you suddenly realize your primary navigation system is lying to you. It's a massive safety threat.
So who's behind this? The suspected perpetrator is Tag 140, a group based in Pakistan. What does that tell us?
Well, that's the core question. This group, also known as APT-36, has historically focused on espionage against Indian government targets. So either they are intentionally expanding their targets to include civilian air travel,
Or this was a military test that went horribly wrong.
exactly, a military electronic warfare test near the border that was simply too powerful, and its effects just spilled over into civilian air corridors. Either way, the message is chilling.
Which brings us from aviation safety to high-stakes military brinkmanship in East Asia. This fire control radar, or FCR, lock-on incident between Japan and China near Okinawa.
This brings the world closer to a direct military confrontation than we've seen in years.
Okay, so break that down for us.
Yeah.
Why is an FCR lock-on such a dangerous escalation?
Well, search radar is passive. It's just looking. An FCR lock-on is a hostile declaration. It's the final step required to guide a missile onto a target. For the pilot or the ship commander, it's like having a gun pointed right at you with a finger on the trigger.
A clear signal of intent. And that immediately triggered a counterattack in the information sphere, right? The narrative warfare.
Absolutely. China couldn't just let Japan claim victimhood, so their defense ministry took the very unusual step of publicly releasing an audio clip.
And their claim was what? That they'd given a warning?
They claimed they provided a radio warning about their exercise, and that a Japanese destroyer even acknowledged it, saying, quote, received.
So China's story is, we acted professionally, you knew we were here. How did Japan respond to that?
They vehemently denied it was a sufficient warning. Their argument was that this wasn't a proper NOTAM notice to air missions. They said it was just insufficient. This is a battle over international norms.
And this all plays into the bigger picture in the Middle East, where China is launching this major diplomatic offensive.
That's right. We've seen Foreign Minister Wang Yi sweep through the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. This is a preemptive strike aimed directly at the U.S. plan for post-conflict Gaza reconstruction.
The Board of Peace, or BOP, initiative.
Exactly. Many Arab nations see the BOP as too U.S.-Israel-centric. China is positioning itself as the just mediator, leveraging its economic ties and its recent success mediating between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
So China's pitch is economic stability and a two-state solution, challenging the U.S.'s more unilateral Trump corollary approach.
It's a direct challenge, yes. They want to peel away Arab support from the U.S. and consolidate the global South under their influence.
So we've tracked fragmented financial risk, fragmented security risk. Now we pivot to the absolute failure of diplomacy on the ground in Africa.
The U.S. brokered Washington Accord between the DRC and Rwanda. It collapsed almost immediately.
Shockingly fast. It was barely signed before the M23 armed group, which is supported by Rwanda, captured the strategic city of Uvira.
That capture was a devastating blow. It just confirmed that the accord was little more than a piece of paper. It completely failed to address the local realities.
And the U.S. had a very specific motivation for pushing this deal, didn't it? One that connects right back to the AI bubble we started with.
Absolutely. The driving force for the U.S. was gaining stable access to the DRC's vast cobalt reserves. Cobalt is essential for high-end batteries. It's non-negotiable for that massive CapEx build-out we talked about for AI data centers.
And this is where it comes full circle. China currently controls 90% of global cobalt refining.
Precisely. So the collapse of this peace deal isn't just a humanitarian tragedy. It's a profound failure of U.S. strategic resource policy. It shows that the global competition for these minerals overrides any diplomatic paperwork.
The resources needed for the AI dream are literally fueling a ground war.
Meanwhile, the crisis is just deepening elsewhere. In Sudan, we have reports from El Fasher that citizens are reduced to eating peanut shells and animal feed. This is full-blown famine setting in.
And in West Africa, an attempted coup in Benin just highlights the growing schism the ECOWAS bloc.
That schism is stark. You have pro-Western coastal nations facing off against the pro-Russia military regimes in the Sahel. Even regional organizations are fracturing under this pressure.
So we've mapped a truly complex, fragmented world. From the Oracle shock to a resource war dissolving a peace treaty in Africa, these events confirm we are deep in this age of poly-fragmentation.
The world is just defined by a much lower threshold for military conflict, brutal economic expectations, and the complete erosion of the boundary between warfare and civilian life.
And the critical takeaway for you listening is the cyclical nature of all this. The capital that fled the AI bubble after the Oracle shock. That money won't just sit idle.
It won't. It's a massive force looking for immediate returns. And where that capital flows next, whether into defense industries, fueling more tensions, or into high-risk resource ventures, escalating the Cobalt wars in the DRC, that directly links economic pessimism to increased global instability.
The market correction for AI isn't the end of a story.
No. It is the beginning of a capital war fought physically on the ground for the resources that will power the next cycle of technology.
A deeply compelling and frankly destabilizing thought for 2026. That is enough signal for one day.
Neural Pulse drops every day at 7 a.m. Eastern. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications to start your morning with the signal. Have a productive day, everyone. See you tomorrow.